Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Social Life Vlogs. It's Lauren Anthony here. Today I'm going to talk to you about Universal Studios. So this is a review on Universal Studios. Universal Studios is the main theme park of Universal here in Orlando, Florida. And it's a really amazing park. I've been there many times before. As you may know, I grew up in Florida. I'm a Florida girl. I was born here and I spent my whole life in Florida, other than traveling, when I started traveling, but I am through and through a Florida girl. And I spent a lot of years when I was younger going to Universal, going to Disney, going to all the amazing theme parks they have here in Orlando, Florida. And Universal is definitely one of my favorites. So I wanted to talk to you guys not only about Universal Studios, but also about Universal Studios during a pandemic, because we did visit the theme park, Universal Studios, here in Orlando, Florida, during a pandemic. Right now, it is 2020, and we are in the middle of the coronavirus or COVID-19 pandemic, and the parks have just recently opened, just a few weeks ago. Now, only Universal parks are open, so that includes Universal Studios, Islands of Adventure, and the Volcano Bay Water Park. Those are the three theme parks owned by Universal, and they opened a few weeks ago. Now, the other theme parks, as far as Disney goes, I know they're not open yet, but they are planning to open shortly here in the next few weeks. And I know SeaWorld also just opened recently, but we wanted to do Universal. Christian has never been. It was his first time to all three theme parks. I have done Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios many times. Being from here, I had a lot of opportunities to go, so I definitely took advantage of those and I did them. So I can also compare Universal Studios before the pandemic, how it was on a normal day, normal year, to what it was like now in 2020 during a pandemic. Very different, I would say. Still the same rides and all the same things are existing, except the actual experience was very different in the sense of the amount of people, the lines, things that are very important. So let me just get started, jump right into it. Universal Studios, in the past, I've been in a totally normal park day, and it's very busy. You have a lot of international travelers, you have people from all over the world going to Universal Studios. It's very famous. Universal is the company that makes a lot of the movies that you may know and love. So they have a theme park that is dedicated to some of those special movies. Some of the theme parks, some of the theme rides that are in the theme park would consist of some of the rides that they have in Universal Studios are the Fast and Furious ride, which was pretty cool. It's not too intense, so if you're wondering about intensity wise, it wasn't too bad. I'm prone to motion sickness and I didn't get sick at all. You can go, I would say, at any age. It's one of the easier rides in the park, but it's still fun. They basically put you in a simulator and you feel like you're part of the show or part of the movie. You're in a race car and you're living the Fast and Furious life. I won't tell you too much about it, but it's always good to know what level of intensity these rides are. I would like to know beforehand, so I want to share just a little bit bits and pieces with you guys so you have an idea if it's something for you or not, because there's nothing worse than not knowing what a ride is like and going on it and then getting sick, or it's too intense, or maybe you don't want to waste your time. But I would suggest going on that ride. It's really fun. It's not too intense, but it is a nice experience. So anybody could go on that one, definitely. I recommend. So they have Fast and Furious. They also have the Harry Potter area. Now this is one of my favorite areas because it's basically like, just like the movie, it's a hidden alleyway. You don't even know where it is. You have to kind of, at first, I've been there before, but it's been so long that I forgot about it. And we actually walked right past it. And I found out later on by talking to one of the employees that worked there at Universal Studios that behind these secret doors, there was a whole nother world. So we went through those doors that just looked plain. You wouldn't even be able to tell there was something behind there. We go through there and there's the whole Harry Potter world. Now, I love what they did with this park. I mean, the buildings are just so cool and they're really awesome. You have to see it for yourself. I can't even explain it. But the Harry Potter world in particular It was really awesome. You feel like you're entering into another dimension. We spent 2 hours just in the Harry Potter area, and we did the Harry Potter ride, which was actually my favorite ride in the entire park. We liked it so much, we did it twice. It was really fun. It's not too intense. I'm not a roller coaster person just because I get nauseous, but it's not boring whatsoever. It was like the perfect, I would say, medium to higher average of intensity, of excitement, of adventure. So it's a simulator ride, but it's really fun, and I was smiling and enjoying the entire time. That was definitely my favorite ride there in Universal Studios. Everybody is different, but that's kind of my speed. So definitely, I think, a ride for everybody, and you can't miss that one. You can't miss the Harry Potter area. It's amazing. Definitely the top of my time there and of that park for me personally, and I think a lot of other people too. So we also did the wand experience, which is inside of the Harry Potter world area. That is something that you have to sign up for. It's completely free. It's complimentary, but you do need to make a reservation. And when you make that reservation, you come back at your allocated time, the time that they give you. You go in, you meet with a wizard, and a wizard basically helps you to see which wand chooses you. So you don't choose a wand, the wand chooses you. If you've seen Harry Potter, if you know the movie, it's the same. They're playing the role just like you're in the movie. And they basically, the wizard, you go into a small room, it's just you and whoever else you're with in your party. So it's very private. You go there, and the wizard helps the wand choose you. So after you go through this kind of little show, you exit, and then they try to sell you the wand. They said, this is the wand that chose you. Would you like to purchase it? We chose not to, just because we have other things we wanted to spend our money on, but a lot of people do purchase it, especially children. And if you get those wands, it's $49 for the regular wand, and it's, I'm trying to remember, it's $55, I think. I can't go minute because it's $49 for the regular wand, and it's just a little more to get the interactive wand. Now, I think it's worth it to spend a couple more dollars to get the interactive wand. If you get the interactive wand when you are inside the Harry Potter world, in the windows of all these little cool buildings, they have specific items, I would say, objects that aren't supposed to be alive or move, and they will be still, but if you use your magic wand, they actually start to move and come alive, and it really does work. So it's not like a show, it's something that the wand and the object connect and the magic happens. So that's kind of cool. If you're into that, if you have the time for it, if you want to experience that, that's kind of cool. I saw a lot of children doing it, and I think it looked really fun if you want to do that. We wanted to do all the rides. We wanted to maximize our time, so we were really focused on making sure we did all the rides. Again, like I said, we did the Harry Potter ride twice because we liked it so much. So we like having that extra time, make sure we do everything. And then if we have extra time, we do another ride that we like again. What else? In the Harry Potter area, they also have that butterbeer. If you're familiar with the movie, they have a drink that's a special drink in the movie. It's called butterbeer. You can also purchase it there in Universal Studios. If you don't go to Universal Studios and you go to Islands of Adventure, which is the other park by Universal, they also sell the butterbeer in the Harry Potter area there. Now, there are 2 Harry Potter areas. So one Harry Potter area in each park, owned by Universal. One in Universal Studio and one in Islands of Adventure. Both parks, both areas are really cool. The buildings are awesome. They've made it feel like you're in Harry Potter. They're both very different, but both really cool. I like both areas. And I have to say, I think it's really hard, but I think I like the Harry Potter world a little bit, just a tiny, tiny bit better in Universal Studios. I just feel like it's more, I don't know, interactive, versus the Harry Potter world in Islands of Adventure is very cute and cool looking, but I felt more inside of another world when I was in the Universal Studios one. They also have the big dragon that breathes fire. Like, it's a real, almost looks like a real dragon. It's not a real dragon, but you feel like it's a real dragon, and it's breathing real fire. And that goes every couple minutes, so that's really cool too. And they also have like a little ice cream shop in there, and they have all kinds of shops you can walk into. They have a bank from the Harry Potter movie. It's the actual replica of the bank where you can go in, you exchange your real money for Harry Potter money, and then you can use that money around the park. So there's all these little cool things to make you really feel like you're in the movie, like you're really in Hogwarts or you're a part of Harry Potter, the movie, and it's really cool. You feel like you're in that world. So that's really nice. I really enjoyed that. Let's see, they also had some shows going on. There were some singers and some dancers. They have stages throughout the park. They did have a lot of little shows. They had a Marilyn Monroe in the Hollywood Boulevard area. So they have an area that replicates Hollywood. If you're familiar with Hollywood Boulevard, with all the movie stars and everything over there in LA and Los Angeles, California, in the United States. So they have an actual replica in the park, Universal Studios, of Hollywood Boulevard, where they have the actual stars, you know, the famous stars with the famous names on them. They have replica of that, as well as the big tall palm trees. If you're familiar with Hollywood Boulevard or familiar with Los Angeles, California, it's famous because it has all these long, really tall palm trees. It's not famous because of that, but it's known for that. I always put together really tall, skinny palm trees with Los Angeles, with Hollywood Boulevard. Here in Florida, we have a lot of palm trees also. I grew up here, so I know we have a lot of palm trees, but they're more short and round, more thick. So they're different. So when I see tall, skinny palm trees, I think of California, Los Angeles, Hollywood Boulevard, which they replicate very well there in Universal Studios. And along that area, they have the Bourne Identity. If you've ever seen that movie, they have a show that you have to get in at least 30 to 45 minutes early or you won't get a spot, it will fill up. So you just have to kind of know what time the show is. If you're walking by that area, there's somebody standing there, an employee that will tell you the next time of the next show and tell you what time to get there. But it's usually about 45 minutes to 30 minutes early if you want to get there and see that show. And then you usually have to wait about a half an hour before the show actually starts. So you have to dedicate a bit of time if you want to see that show or any of the shows there that are inside. So there's actual shows that they had running while we were there. One was the Bourne Identity show. Another one was the horror makeup show, which is actually a kind of scary horror makeup show, but it's also a comedy. Same thing. That was a show that you have to get in line and go inside. What else did they have? They had like little platforms around the park that were outside that you didn't have to go into or you didn't have to wait in line or sign up for. And there were kind of random things like we saw Marilyn Monroe and her backup dancers on Hollywood Boulevard. So that was kind of cool. Just fun little things that we randomly ran into. They did have a Dora the Explorer parade. So they had a big float with Dora the Explorer and all her friends, and it was in a jungle kind of atmosphere. So it was a jungle float. So that was kind of cool. And they were singing their little songs in Spanish and also in English. And it was interactive. And the little kids were dancing. It was so cute. The babies are so cute there because everybody's having a good time. Adults, babies, everyone. So that was fun, just having those certain things all around. We also went to the Simpsons area. They have an area that I don't watch The Simpsons. I never have, but I know what The Simpsons are. Obviously, I know The Simpsons. Very famous, especially here in the United States. A famous television show. I'm pretty sure they have movies as well, but I don't keep up with that stuff. Anyways, we did that ride because I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I'm going to let you know now. If you get motion sickness, it's a simulator ride. The Simpsons ride is a simulator ride, but I did it, and I'm telling you, within the first 5 seconds, I had to close my eyes because it doesn't move you a lot, but the graphics is a huge screen and you feel like you're on a roller coaster, and it's very intense. So if you're someone that's prone to motion sickness or you get sick easy or you're scared of heights, I definitely would not do the Simpsons ride. So just letting you guys know that now. I think that's important because I did it and then I felt sick afterwards, and then you feel sick and you're in the park and it's just not even worth it. So it's better just to have fun and enjoy and go on the rest of the rides. Most of the other rides were pretty good. Didn't feel sick on any of them. So just that ride, that's my personal experience. But if you like that kind of stuff, you like craziness and adventure and the more thrill the better, then the Simpson ride might be the one for you. I would say it's the most intense ride there in the park, personally for me, in Universal Studios. And I thought that it was cool, the area actually surrounding, because everything is really like cartoonish and it's just really cool. I don't know how to explain it. You just kind of got to see it for yourself, but everything looks like you're in Krusty Land. So Krusty Land is the area that it's called, and it was really cool. I like just walking around there. It was fine. I could have done without the ride, but I did it, and that's okay. I can share with you guys now my experience, and maybe you can make a more educated choice. So that's good. It will help you, hopefully. What else? We also did the Men in Black, and that ride was really fun. It's not very intense. I was actually told that it was intense, and if you have motion sickness, you shouldn't do it, but I get motion sickness, and I didn't have any problem on it. It was actually really kind of silly to me. It was fun, but wasn't anything intense at all. It was about 5 miles per hour on a cart that turns and rotates, and there's aliens popping up everywhere, and you shoot at the aliens. So it was fun. It was interactive. It was easygoing. I think anybody could do it, and it's kind of fun just to kind of get out there and shoot at the aliens and feel like you're a part of the movie. Again, that's the whole thing, is to feel like you're a part of these movies that Universal has made. So that was the Men in Black. Fun, interactive. Let's see, what else did we do? We did the Transformers ride. That was another simulator ride. That one was pretty easygoing too, maybe a little more intense than some of the other rides, but not as intense as the Simpsons one. So I did the Transformers ride with no problem. Simulator ride, I mean, pretty self-explanatory. Feel like you're in the movie with the Transformers. And then we also did, I didn't do the roller coaster there, but Christian did. He said he loved it. At first he was kind of scared of it because it goes straight up, so your back is facing the ground and you're looking like you're going straight up to the sky. So that looks a little intimidating, and then you get to the top and you just do a drop, and then you go around and you go upside down. But it wasn't very long. It didn't seem very long. It's a quick roller coaster ride. But when he came off of it, he said he loved it. I also heard other people coming off of it like, I was so scared, I was crying before I went on, and actually I want to do it again. So it seems like definitely if you're into roller coasters, definitely check that ride out. It's the red and yellow ride, and I think if you're into that, I was a little nervous. I have to be a little more cautious because I don't want to get sick and just ruin my whole day because I did a ride and then I'm sick. Usually roller coasters can make me nauseous, so I stay away from them. But I got really good reviews from him and other people, so if you like roller coasters, definitely do that one. We also were checking out the Shrek. We did the Shrek ride. Now, the Shrek ride was more of, you enter into a movie theater, you sit down in your seat, and your seat moves. Now, it wasn't super intense movements, but it does jump and jerk you a little bit, and you have the glasses on, the 3D glasses, so it was like a 3D movie pretty much, and you feel like you're part of the Shrek movie, and you're helping Shrek, and you're in the carriage with them, with Donkey and Shrek. So it was definitely easygoing. I think any age could do it. It was actually more easygoing than I thought. I was a little, I guess I had expectations of a ride, and I didn't realize you were just sitting in a movie theater. I've done all these rides before, but it's been so long that I can't remember all of them. So I was actually wishing and hoping that it was a little more intense. It was more like a ride, an interactive ride, but I would say it was more of like a 3D movie, that you did feel like you were in the movie and you were a part of it and you were in the carriage with Shrek and Donkey, but I kind of was wishing it was a little more intense. But I guess for kids and things like that, a lot of kids like Shrek. Shrek is for all ages, adults, kids. I think it would be a good ride for anybody, or I don't know if I would call it a ride, but I guess they call it a ride. But it's a good experience for any age. Definitely kids could do it. I wish it was a little more intense, but that's just me. But for kids, I guess it's good. But we also did the Minions, and the Minions was pretty cool. It was also similar to the Shrek, I would say. It was more easygoing. They put you in a chair, kind of a booth, and then you have the big screen in front of you, and you kind of move along with the actual seating. So that one was also easygoing. I would say it's a little tiny more intense than the Shrek. Not much, but you also feel like you're a part of the movie, and you're kind of bouncing around, and they make you feel like you're in it. So, and the seat moves with you. So you just, I don't know, it's that kind of experience. And let's see, what else? They also have a nice little area near the Transformers that kind of models an old school New York. At first, we didn't know if it was England or it was Ireland or it was New York, but then we started seeing signs that said New York and New York City, and then you could feel that it was like an old school New York City, but we weren't really sure at first. It kind of gives you the feeling, if you've ever been to England, I've been to England and Ireland, it kind of gives you the feeling of like the olden times in England, or the olden times in London, or in Dublin and Ireland. So it was an interesting mix, but it was definitely, in the end, we figured out New York City. But the buildings are really cool. You feel like you're walking through these little alleyways and these big buildings that are mirrored after New York City, old school New York City. So it's taking you back in time. I like that. I thought that was really cool. I'm really into traveling, so that was really fun for me. And what else? Oh, there's also the Mummy ride. Now the Mummy ride is a roller coaster ride. I didn't know it was a roller coaster at first, but it is more on the intense level. I would say medium intense. So if you're not a roller coaster person, I would not do the Mummy ride. If you're okay with roller coasters, that's great. There is some dark areas, so some darkness where you're going on a roller coaster, some drops, things like that. So if you are into roller coaster, the Mummy ride could be really cool. If you're not, if you get motion sickness, maybe it's a good one to stay away from. Let's see, and then I covered the other roller coaster, and I think that's about it. So I would say that it was a really, really nice day. As far as how it's been impacted by coronavirus or COVID-19, the pandemic, we basically felt like we had the entire park to ourselves. Again, the same with the other two parks that we went to, the Volcano Bay Water Park by Universal and the Islands of Adventure by Universal. We felt like the park was literally operating at maybe 20-30% max. There was hardly any lines. We had no lines. Maximum wait time, I would say, was maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I think, max on the Simpson ride, but maybe even less than that. I'd say 10 minutes was the minimum, but most of them, we didn't have any wait at all. We walked right through, straight onto the ride, which is unheard of. If you've ever been to Universal ever before this pandemic, you're always waiting in lines. I remember growing up at least 1 hour per line. So it was interesting for me as someone who's been before many times to go through these lines and remember places where I had been stopped before, thinking, wow, I'm just breezing by, walking through all these areas where usually you're waiting in line. So in that respect, it was really good. The cleanliness was really good. They were making sure you have to wear a mask when you go into Universal. So if you don't have a mask on, you're not getting in. You have to have a mask. That goes for everybody. All the employees are wearing masks. They're constantly sanitizing. They have hand sanitizer all over the park for yourself. They also have hand sanitizer that the employees are giving you before you get on the rides, making sure the rides are clean. That also reminds me, we did the ET ride as well. The ET ride was really fun. I liked it. It was really easygoing. So also a really cool, chill, easygoing ride. Anybody could do it, definitely. There was little girls that must have been 2 years old doing that ride. We really enjoyed it because it was just kind of cool and lots of lights and neons and colors, and you actually felt like you were on the bike. It's a ride that you're in a bike, so you feel like you're in a bike, and it operates from the top, so you're cruising, you feel like you're flying. That's the whole point, is you're part of ET, you're with ET, you're going through the story, the movie, you're flying above the city. They have all these cool areas or rooms where you feel like you're a part of the ride. So we did the ET as well. That's in the kids section. Some of the stuff in the kids section was closed, like the Curious George playground area where they have some water stuff and water guns and water fountains, interactive. They've closed that kind of stuff down. There's also a playground for kids in the kid area that was also shut down because of coronavirus, because of COVID-19, because they don't want a lot of kids interacting together and, you know, touching everything, and they can't really control or maintain that in the cleanliness. So I understand that. But yeah, all that stuff was closed. But other than that, everything was open. It was just really, I would say, those two kid park areas. So if you have a little one, I think you can still enjoy. There was plenty to do there, too much stuff. We couldn't even finish everything. But we did all the rides. We just didn't get to go to all the shows and stuff. But there was plenty to do anyways. But if you have little kids and you're looking forward to that kind of thing, maybe now is not the best time to go. Maybe wait till coronavirus is over. But I will say that they were very diligent. The employees, the company, as far as making sure everybody had hand sanitizer before they got on the rides. Everybody was wearing their mask. If you take your mask off even for a second, there were always employees around reminding you, please put your mask on, please keep your mask on. They remind you when you get on the ride, please keep your mask on at all times while you're on the ride. So I would say, as far as safety-wise, I think it was fine. I felt that they did a very good job at making sure that everything was very clean, sanitized all the time, and everybody had their masks on. So if you have any other questions, I think that wraps it up for me, but if there's anything you can think of or any questions that you have, something you want to further ask about what I talked about, or if there's something that I might have not spoke about that you're curious about, you have a question, please feel free to write below, leave me a comment, and I will get back to you as soon as possible and reply to your comments. I love seeing your comments, your positive feedback, and I like to see what you think, and I'd be more than happy to answer you. And hopefully this helped you make a decision if you want to go. Hopefully this helped you if you were just interested in what's going on over here. It's an interesting time in the world. It's an interesting time to be in a theme park. So lots going on, and hopefully you found it fun and entertaining and you learned something. So again, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like. I hope you gained something from it. Definitely drop me a comment and feel free to ask me any questions, and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.